Hello everyone, I'm that 3D guy, and I know a lot of people have been requesting uh, a new tutorial, maybe something related to automotive. And finally, we are here. I thought just a couple of sessions back we were doing some speed forms, but now I thought why not start with our own session where we'll be covering the entire automotive alias workflow. We'll be starting with the very basics, the blueprints and the curve building and the surfaces, the details, and so on. So it will be something that I cannot predict right now. I think it can go up to maybe 30 sessions. It would be a complete playlist of an automotive session. So yeah, because honestly, I want to be completely raw with it. I don't want to like go somewhere maybe where people are not able to understand. I want to take things slowly. I'd like to also experiment along because there are a lot of places where even if I have done a model hundreds of times, there could be a completely different approach on how I tackle things. So I think along with a lot of people, I think I should also be able to like try to maybe uh, keep changing the plans and see where it goes. Anyways, I felt I'll take up a model which is fairly on a scale of 1 to 10. It can go maybe somewhere near 7 or 8 because I feel that whenever you are working on a model which is complex, uh, like maybe a Porsche or something, it can be a bit difficult to follow because there are a lot of complex curves and there are a lot of fillets that you need to do. There are a lot of, I would say, uh, blends that are very complex to understand. And somewhere in between, uh, there are also some simple products and speed forms that we have already covered. Then in the automotive section, the simple ones are also the Jeeps and some wagons. And somewhere between the wagons and the Porsches, we have the Lamborghinis, which are a mix of both. It has some curves which are a bit more fluid, and there are some of them which are quite sharp. So it would be very interesting. I'll quickly share my screen to start with the first session. As you can see on my screen, we have the Lamborghini LP 700, which is basically uh, I got the blueprints from for, and we'll try to make this model. Now, an interesting thing that I wanted to cover here is I was actually planning to make a model of uh, Lamborghini SVJ, right? The 2019 version, the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ. But the problem is that I could not find blueprints for it. So the closest one that I could find was LP 700, and over here, uh, as you can see, if I try to compare the side view, you'll see that it's the proportions are quite similar. This is what we want. Obviously we can target the details. There are obviously some of the parts where you would feel that okay, maybe this curve is the same, but the way the parts have been layered are a bit different. Maybe over here we could have a cutout like this. So if I want to target the SVJ, we would obviously try to focus on the details more, but that would be a bit later because obviously the first point would be trying to get the proportions right, to get the feel of the car right. I don't think anyone cares if I have an extra vent or not. Obviously, that can be added later based on the design requirements, as long as it looks like a Lambo. So that would be our first goal, to make it look like a Lambo. Uh, then obviously, uh, the second thing would be to make sure that our surfaces are really clean. So that would be the second step. And obviously the third step would be the details, to capture as many details as possible. So that would be on a lower priority, but the first thing is to block all the main panels. The second, again, as I mentioned, cleaner surfaces, cleaner reflections. And the third would be to get the uh, details right. So let's see. I think it might take a long time to go through each and every session. Uh, I'll also make sure that in some places I might cut off some parts, but I'll obviously explain it how I do it so that I don't just spend time aimlessly moving the model and just trying to figure out some of the things. So yeah, I might cut off some of the things, but I'll make sure that once I find a solution, I'll make sure that I come back and I show you how I did it and how the approach can be. So yeah, that is something that is obviously something that I would be very cautious about. Anyways, one more thing, I think this is going to be a very fun session. So please make sure that you like and subscribe, because that is something that is going to motivate me to create more videos and more sessions till the end, right? Obviously, there could be a lot of engagement at the start of the videos, and at the end of the sessions, it could be something that dies down. But anyways, let's begin. So the first thing is finding the blueprints. Obviously, I found a Lamborghini Aventador LP700 online. As you can see, I have this drawingdatabase.com where I found this blueprint from. I just saved it and copied it to Photoshop. The second thing is again finding yeah, finding the uh, reference images, because that is very important. Finding some reference images from Netcar Show. So if you are an automotive designer or an alias modeler, or yeah, anyone who is mostly related to automotive, this is a really good website, Netcar Show, which is going to show you the reference images of all car makes and all the brands, right? So this is going to be really very helpful. Then again, I just save the images and I have everything inside PureRef. So as you can already see, we have a software called PureRef, which is free. Obviously, you can donate, but again, that's optional. You can save these images here, and then you can view them in the highest resolution. You can view each and every detail and see how it looks, right? You can have a decent idea of how the proportions are and how the cutouts are and stuff like that. So that is something I would say uh, is going to be something which you can take a look at. Perfect. Now we have the blueprints here, right? We have the blueprints, the side, front, top and rear. So how are we going to integrate this inside our alias workflow? Like basically laying the canvases. Uh, let's have a look, right? So I already have some images saved out. Let's see if I have, if I go to my desktop, right? And if I go to Aventador, I have my front view saved, which is basically cropped. I have my side view and I have my top view, right? I'll quickly show you how I do it for the uh, front view. I think is the front view? No, for the rear view, sorry. So I just have my entire canvas here. I just use C to crop. I drag it the way like this. And something like this, right? Let's crop it maybe a little more, so you can obviously, yeah, try it again, crop it again. I want it to be fairly close so that when we are trying to, yeah, when we are trying to place the canvases, we are able to get it as close as possible, right? So that would be our goal. Yeah, this should be okay. Yes, something like this should be okay. Perfect. All right, and then we can just save it as a PNG. So file, save as, yeah, maybe file, export, quick export as PNG. And we have the front, side, top, and this would be our rear. Perfect, rear, right? So let's save it as rear. And then I think we don't need Photoshop anymore. So let's get rid of this. No. Perfect. Now we have our four views, which are the front, rear, side, and top. All right. Now let's open our alias scene. One thing that we would require is seeing the dimensions. I'll just go to my downloads and maybe copy it, Control C, and maybe go on my desktop and paste it here. And let's see the dimensions. Now again, as I've mentioned, we are taking a look at the LP700 model, LP700 blueprint, but we obviously want it for SVJ. The basic proportions would be the same, so we don't care about the dimensions here, right? So we look at the dimensions, which are 4780 by 2029, and the height would be 1136. I'll just zoom it a little so that we can all have a look. 1136, 2029, and 4780. All the dimensions are in mm, right? So how do we create a bounding box where we know that, okay, this is where our blueprints are going to lie? To do that, we open our alias and we start with a box, right? So how do we do that? We go on our in our palette, and over here we have our surfaces. You have this small box. Over here you have a sphere. You can obviously add a cube and use Alt button to basically snap it to the center. I don't need this one. Pick object and scale it. Yeah. Now you would be wondering, how are we going to scale it according to the blueprints? So let's again take a look at the image. We have the dimension of 4780 as the width, right? So to do that, we'll select the cube, the entire cube, right? And we'll press Control 5. Over here we have the information window. At the transform, we see the X, Y, and Z. X would be our, as you can see over here, X would be this axis, Z would obviously be the vertical axis, and Y would be like this, right? We obviously want our vehicle to be to follow the same structure. Over here you can also see the color coding, which is X for this one, Y for the green one, and Z for the vertical vertical one. All right, so over here we need the scale. Everything is in mm. So let's add this again. We'll go and we'll have a look. 4780. So let's select this, 4780, right? And we hit enter and we have the length of our vehicle. Then our width is 2029. Let's do that. So width is 029. Perfect. As you can see, we have the pivot exactly at the center, so we don't have to worry about where our vehicle is going to lie, right? It's exactly going to be at the center. Then we have the height, which is 1136. So let's put the height as 1136, 1136. Perfect. All right, I think our vehicle looks quite low. Yeah, this is how it is. All right, perfect. So now, as you can see, we have the entire bounding box. We'll just create a new layer, L1, and we have a bounding box. So I'll just add bounding underscore box, right? And assign it here and set state as reference. So now we have this over here. Perfect. And then what we are going to do is we are just going to drag and drop the canvas. So we have the side. Let's drag and drop it. Perfect. And let's scale it. And if everything is right, we should see our vehicle exactly at the center of the exactly at the fitting exactly inside the cube. Yeah, perfect. Let's see, scale it a bit more, something like this, and this should be okay. Yes, all right, bit above, but let's move it a bit down, and we have all of them matching almost perfectly, right? So yeah, I think this should be perfectly okay. Yeah, perfect. So as you can see, we already have something which is a bit, yeah, maybe a little scaled up like this, or never mind, I think this should be okay. Yeah, perfect. So we have this as the side view. Let's keep the top view now. So we'll move this at the back. Then let's focus on the top view. And we'll just take the top view. So we go here, drag the top view all the way and drag it here, center pivot and scale it down. Select the object, center pivot and scale it down. Perfect. I think yeah. So as you can see over here, we have the things fitting, but the width does not always include the side mirrors. So that is something that you might have to keep in mind, that the side mirrors are not always accommodated inside the canvas, right? Most of the models that I have worked on respond the same way. We have exactly the things matching here, right? That is looking okay. Even this I think is matching perfectly fine. But as soon as we look at the side mirrors, like the ORVMs, we see that it is actually coming out of the bounding box, and the main reason is obviously because uh, the blueprints don't usually account for that. So that is one thing that you need to keep in mind. Now we'll drag this down. Let's go in the front view. Do we need the front view right now? I wouldn't say so, but let's do it for the sake of it so that we don't have to later add it in. Usually I try to focus on the front and the side and the top views first, and then I try to move it, and then I try to add the front and side views, or front and rear views, sorry. Again, over here, as you can see, we don't account for this, and yeah, we scale it all the way like this, move it a bit up. Let's see, almost perfect, almost perfect. Let's scale it a bit down, move it a bit down. Yeah, this should be okay. Nothing much to worry about here. Yes. All right, I think this should be okay. So as you can see, how we are laying off the blueprints is also very important. Let's have a new layer called blueprint and add everything here, assign, and select state as reference, right? So now obviously we don't have anything pickable here. Let's hide it. And in the end, let's add the rear view. One more thing that you can also do is you can just add a pivot here, right? And move it like this. Basically, we are just trying to match it across and then scale it. But yeah, again, I think we are not accounting for the uh, ORVM, so this is not going to be very precise, but still I would say at least for the initial one, we can obviously do it, then add it at the center. Maybe move it like this, right? And then scale it a bit like this, or no, all the way like this, and move it down. Yes, almost perfect. Again, you can try to be pixel perfect, but yeah, that is something that might never happen. So we should be happy with this. All right, so we have our canvases laid here. One thing before we start building the curves, and obviously starting the next session, because this is something that we'll stop here for now, is maybe if we just go to the control panel and we can adjust the transparency of the canvases to be a bit low, right? So over here you have the control panel. I think in the Windows section you can have the control panel, and you can go here, and over here you can control how much transparency you want for the canvases, for the controls, the curves, costs, and surfaces and stuff like that, right? So let's keep it low because this is perfectly fine for us. The top view is okay, the front view is looking okay, the rear view is looking okay. I think it should be perfectly okay for us to start. Last but not the least, let's save the file. So save, and we are going to save it. Yeah, I think that does not matter. We'll save it just in the desktop. We'll save it here. Maybe we'll save it as Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, right? And save. All right, perfect. I hope you like this video, and obviously we'll be continuing the next session with the curves and how we are going to start with the wireframe of it to start building the foundation of the vehicle. So yeah, I hope you like the first video, and I'll make sure that it is as informative as possible. Uh, we will both have, we'll all have a project that we'll be able to showcase by the end of this session. Obviously, it's going to be a long session. It might go on for maybe a month or so, but please stay tuned, and I'm sure that you'll love it. Thanks a lot. See you in the next session. Bye bye.